Welcome back to our channel, the place where we bring you the most explosive twists and shocking turns from the world of daytime drama. Today, what unfolds in Beyond the Gates is nothing short of breathtaking, a whirlwind of betrayal, manipulation, and desperate power plays that rip through the fragile fabric of trust holding the characters together. Every choice leaves scars, every revelation detonates like a bomb, and the ripple effects spread through Fairmont Crest like wildfire. The episode we dive into today is not simply another chapter in the lives of the Duprees and those orbiting their world of privilege and secrets. It is a collision course of hidden motives, impossible demands, and life-altering consequences that will leave viewers stunned and hungry for more. It all begins with Nicole, who until now had carefully managed the image of the family as a beacon of sophistication and restraint, unleashing a revelation so staggering it freezes Kat in place, leaving her breathless with disbelief. For months, subtle signs had hinted that something within Nicole's personal life was far from the polished perfection she projected, but no one could have anticipated the nature of the revelation that exploded into the room like a thunderclap. Kat, who had believed she stood firmly on the ground of certainty regarding her closest relationships, suddenly found herself staring into an abyss of betrayal, where every assumption shattered. Nicole's words did not merely challenge loyalties, they ripped them apart, exposing a hidden bond that upended Kat's identity and left her questioning who she could trust, who had manipulated her, and how long the truth had been concealed behind flawless facades. The revelation was not simply personal. It was political, social, and deeply entwined with the fragile power balances within the Dupree dynasty. By detonating this truth, Nicole forced Kat into a corner where survival demanded choosing sides, and no matter which side she chose, ruin waited. Meanwhile, in another corner of this fractured world, Vanessa was caught in a trap of professional ambition and moral compromise. Known for her resilience and sharp instincts in navigating demanding clients, she found herself suddenly facing a request so harsh, so unreasonable, that it pushed her beyond any boundary she had ever encountered. The client's demand was not simply excessive, it was cruel, forcing her to weigh her integrity against the survival of her career. The pressure suffocated her as the magnitude of the request became clear. Not only was her reputation on the line, but the entire foundation of her business. To comply meant sacrificing values she had sworn never to betray, yet to refuse meant certain destruction, a collapse orchestrated with precision by forces that wanted to see her broken. Vanessa stood on a precipice, her pride battling against desperation, as she calculated the cost of surrendering to a demand so vicious it could redefine her forever. Every second that passed in that negotiation room felt like an eternity, the walls closing in as her options dwindled to nothing but bleak outcomes. Her face betrayed no fear, but inside her heart thundered with the knowledge that she was being dragged into a game where victory was impossible and survival itself would come at an unbearable price. Across town, Vernon's world was unraveling. The patriarch who had built his empire with iron discipline and relentless ambition now found himself stripped of the control that had always defined him. He turned to Bill, once a trusted ally and confidant, in a desperate plea for assistance. But what he encountered was not friendship, it was exploitation. Bill listened, cold and calculating, as Vernon's voice cracked with urgency, but instead of offering support, he placed before him a condition so sinister it sent shivers down Vernon's spine. The request was cloaked in the guise of a solution, yet its true nature was dark, binding, and destructive, forcing Vernon into a corner where the cost of salvation was his very soul. Accepting the condition meant aligning himself with forces that would erode everything he once stood for, yet rejecting it meant the swift collapse of his family's power and his personal downfall. Vernon's face, usually composed and unreadable, betrayed the torment of a man grappling with a decision that could poison generations. In that moment, the once mighty leader was reduced to a pawn, stripped of pride, and shackled to the terrifying realization that survival sometimes requires surrendering to the very darkness one has spent a lifetime resisting. His hand trembled as he contemplated Bill's offer, the weight of legacy, loyalty, and fear pressing down on him like an avalanche that offered no escape. And then came Danny, whose unpredictability has always been both her weapon and her curse. When she confronted Andre, she did not plead, nor did she seek compromise. Instead, she delivered an ultimatum so brazen, so uncompromising, that it shattered the fragile balance of their relationship. Her conditions were not gentle suggestions but calculated demands that transformed affection into a battlefield and intimacy into a power struggle. Andre, who had believed he understood the depths of Danny's ambition, found himself blindsided by her audacity. Each demand pushed him further into uncharted territory, testing his loyalty, his patience, and even his identity. To accept meant sacrificing freedom, bending his will to her vision of control. To refuse meant severing the ties between them and igniting a conflict that could burn everything around them. Dany's eyes glimmered not with tenderness but with the cold determination of someone who had chosen power over love, manipulation over vulnerability. She cornered Andre, not with threats of violence but with the unbearable weight of expectations that promised to suffocate him if he resisted. Their relationship, once turbulent but survivable, now teetered on the edge of catastrophe, every moment charged with the knowledge that one wrong move could turn passion into permanent destruction. As these storylines wove together, the larger picture became clear. Beyond the Gates is not simply a tale of family and ambition, but of the relentless gravity of secrets and the terrifying power of choices. Nicole's revelation demolished bonds, Vanessa's predicament tested integrity, Vernon's desperation exposed vulnerability, and Dany's demands weaponized intimacy. Each thread pulled tighter around the characters, binding them to fates they had not chosen but could no longer escape. The community of Fairmont Crest, glittering with wealth and prestige on the surface, now pulsed with rot beneath, where loyalty is currency, betrayal is strategy, and survival demands sacrifices that strip away humanity piece by piece. The tension in every scene refuses to let go. Every glance hides suspicion, every silence screams of concealed motives, and every gesture foreshadows catastrophe. The Duprees and those tethered to them march forward, blinded by ambition, scorched by betrayal, and burdened by the choices they cannot undo. As the dust settles from this storm of revelations, one truth becomes undeniable: nothing in this world will ever be the same again. Stay tuned, because what comes next promises even greater chaos, darker secrets, and betrayals that will shake Fairmont Crest to its foundations. This is only the beginning, and the next chapters will push every character to the brink of destruction. Remember to follow and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a single shocking twist from Beyond the Gates.